Hello and welcome back to the Cologne Regional Championships. We are about to start top 4. I am Lydia Hombach and I'm joined by Martin Wagner. And we are about to see the match you've all been waiting for. We have Gardevo Sylvion versus...
we versus Sender Wojcik's Pidgeotto control. It's gonna be super interesting.
It is indeed gonna be super interesting.
Because we don't know, we did not have this matchup on stream before.
Not at all.
And it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. Obviously, sometimes Pidgeotto control can be a little bit slow to watch because sometimes, if they get the lock, they can just do the same thing every turn. But I think the interesting part about all of these control decks is how do they get into a lock? Like, how do they start it? How do they lock their opponent out of the game? Like, once the lock happens, it's fine. Then they just play the game down. But to get into the lock, that requires a lot of skill.
But I have information that we are about to start. If you've just tuned in that round, remember, or here's a little announcement for you. We have a giveaway going with one of our sponsors, Card Market. So you have a chance to win a €5 voucher if you let us know who you will think will win during the first 5 minutes of the game. So if you think whoever will be the player on the left side will win, type #playerleft in the chat. If you think the right player will win, guess what? Type #playerright in the chat. If you forget the commands, we also have the command !giveaway, which will tell you exactly what you need to do. And because both players are ready, I would say...
let's just get into it.
Ha! I am honestly really excited. I feel like this game is gonna give me a bad headache.
Yeah, there certainly will be a lot of thinking involved. Sender on the left, playing his trusty stall control decks. He's so known for. If someone tells me European stall players, I always think of Sender first.
Yeah.
He's like, he has invented, back in the day, I remember, almost 1 year ago, he invented Steelix and Wideout stall. Like, this was the beginning of Stevens and Lusamine based stall decks. And now, then he played, I think, Shedinja, and then he played towards the end of the season, he played Regigigas once again, and now he's playing Pidgeotto control to lock his opponents out of the game. And who is he up against?
Yeah, Sander is up against Vincent, Munk, Munk. He's a Danish player, so I guess it's Munk.
Probably, yes.
Probably,
yeah.
Yes. He is a not that accomplished player, but when filling out the video release form, I've also learned that he is still under 18, so I am guessing that he has only just recently aged up. So
yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, certainly, if you're very young, you still have a long way to go. I mean, Pokemon is a game for all age groups, but still, he can still get a lot of accomplishments. And obviously, getting top 8 or top 4 at regional, at such a big regional at such a young age, is a very nice accomplishment, and he can be very proud of that already. But he hopes he can pull through, and Sander's stall deck is his last obstacle in his way to make his way to the finals.
Yeah, and we can see he's Sander starting. He's beginning the game. He has the Oranguru in the active position. He just played he's currently in the process of playing a Hapu.
Yes.
He already has a Pidgey on the bench, so that's for sure good news for him. And it looks like he's going for Professor Elm and another Pidgey, so that's the perfect setup you want to have.
Yeah, you want to get out as many Pidgeys as possible to use these. Use the airmail ability, to evolve the Pidgey into Pidgeotto, and then use the airmail ability to just go through your deck, pick out the cards you need to pull off the combo that gets rid of your opponent's whole hand and controls their top deck. And basically locks them out of the game. And I'm very interested in seeing what Vincent can do to prevent this, or if he even can do anything. Yeah, he probably knows best. I'm looking at his list. He does not have any hand disruption besides
He
reset
plays 2
stamp.
reset stamp.
Yeah, but reset stamp is not really what you want to see versus a deck that does not take any prizes.
That's
so
true.
But
That doesn't help a lot.
But still, these Pidgeotto decks tend to accumulate some really large hands before they go for the combo. Like, I think it consists of Reset Stamp, Mars, and Chip Chip Ice Axe usually. So if you can get those cards out of the Pidgeotto's players' hands, then you maybe have a way to win. But yeah, like something like Judge is always really useful against Pidgeotto players because resetting their hand down to 4 instead of 6 makes a huge difference. But unfortunately, no Judge in Vincent's deck list.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
definitely. And speaking of the game state, everything seems to go very fast. It was Vincent's turn already. He seems to have used Fairy Song to attach 2 Fairy energies to his bench Xerneas GX. And it's Xander's turn again. He is drawing the card for his turn. It looks like he draw into the Chip Chip Ice Axe, but currently not a time for it yet.
Yeah, as we see, Crushing Hammer, these will be really, really important.
Yeah.
Since Gardevoir only plays basic energy, and the only way of getting rid of basic energy that is currently in our standard format is Crushing Hammer as a trainer card. Obviously, we have some stuff like Articuno GX, which Sander also plays. But yeah, Crushing Hammer heads will be really nice since there's no way for Vincent to recover those basic energy.
No, not at all.
So if they're gone, they're gone.
So maybe we should talk a little bit about Xander's game plan and the general game plan of those Pidgey control decks.
Yes.
What they want to do is they want to fall behind in prices so that they can establish a lock. So a state in which they completely are in control of the game and they can't, like they force their opponent to actually be able to do nothing. So they want to fall behind in prices, then use the reset step, so the opponent draws maybe only 1 or 2 prize cards, then use Mars to get rid of hand cards. The next step is then to use Articuno GX attack to get rid of the energies on the field. Of course, Crushing Hammer is also a card that helps.
Yes.
Then, the step afterwards, there are a lot of steps.
Yeah, multi-step plan, definitely.
Multi-step plan. Then you have the Chip Chip Ice Axe, which lets you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. You can put one on top, shuffle the other cards back into the deck, so you always control the top deck of your opponent.
Yeah, so basically you make them their draw, right?
Yeah.
And
to get all the card backs, you can use Oranguru with resource management.
Yes, and then basically when that happens, you have established an infinite loop where you can just put back all the resources you've spent, locking your opponent out of the game, and just put them back every single turn, and keep doing that over and over again. We see the resource management shuffling back into Crushing Hammer and the Necrobike. I think Sander knows that his hand can be disrupted and that hand disruption is really powerful against his deck. So he wants to get rid of cards he does not necessarily need if he has established a board position. But we still did not see any Pidgeottos come down.
Sure.
So yeah, it's he needs to find those. But he's not in that much of a hurry because Vincent can only take 1 prize a turn. So he still has a few turns left. As we see, the greens for the switching the Xerneas into the active. Vincent will probably take his first prize of the game. Yeah, but Sander doesn't mind. He
doesn't mind at all.
So
he even has the second Oranguru on bench. So if he wanted to, he could immediately get the Oranguru back into his deck with resource management.
Oh, very nice. The Pidgeotto actually has 60 HP, so it can research with Professor Arms Lecture. Usually you only search for basic Pokemon with Professor Arms, but Pidgeotto is one of the rare Stage 1 Pokemon that has 60 HP as well. So he can search for 2 or 3 of them, depending on how many he wants. And we actually see one of the more interesting inclusions in his Pidgeotto control list. He's playing a copy of Mareep Lost Thunder, which has, I don't know what the ability is called, but basically, if the Pokemon is in the active, you can make your opponent's Pokemon asleep.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that also helps disrupting your opponent's Pokemon. If you don't,
fluffy pillow.
yeah, fluffy pillow. That's actually really cute. Yeah, because it works like like Articuno in some ways, because it prevents the opponent's active Pokemon from attacking, not by getting rid of all the energy, but by making it asleep. And yeah, if you have nothing else to do, if you don't necessarily need to resource management on one turn, you can just promote the Mareep and make your opponent's Pokemon asleep, and maybe they can't attack, and you slow them down for one more turn.
Yeah, I would say it's almost the same.
Yes. But like sleep is not as reliable, because they can always slip and wake up. So
yeah, let's see. It looks like Sander got some airmail. Well, not quite yet. He's using an acrobike to get to see some more cards. Acrobike is a great card in this very deck, because what you want to do is get rid of your deck as soon as possible.
Yeah, so your deck only consists of cards you resource management back in, and you have the rest of the options back in your hand actually. So yeah, probably Vincent, he can take another prize this turn and be fine. He's gonna use the green's exploration, but he has to he needs to expect that his hand will be shuffled back into his deck, or will be disrupted with the likes of Jesse and James, or Mars that Sander plays. So yeah, getting important cards into your hand versus Pidgey control is really, really dangerous. And if you get resources out of your deck, you almost want to use those instantly, because you don't know if you will have access to them next turn. And KOing the Pidgeotos is really important, because it disrupts Sander's draw engine, or not really a draw engine, but you just pick the cards you want and put the rest in your deck. So it's not really drawing cards, it's more like picking the cards you want. As we see the KO, the Mareep is being promoted.
Actually, Mareep is a really good way of a really good Pokemon to promote. Yeah, because I guess it was only one retreat cost.
Yeah, you promote it, you attach the U-turn board that Sander also plays to it, and
then he plays U-turn board.
Then you have a free retreater that can make your opponent's Pokemon be asleep. So that's super nice.
Indeed.
It's additional disruption that does not really cost you anything, except promoting something and finding 2 cards, which you want to find. You find your cards eventually. You don't need to find all your combo pieces early. If your opponent has 2 or 3 prizes or 1 prize left, then you may be in trouble. But if your opponent has 4 prizes, you don't worry. You still have a lot of time. He still needs to take 4 more knockouts to win the game. So yeah, we see Airmail putting the Ditto under the deck, and then going for Professor Elms, establishing more birds on his side of the field. Going for Pidgey, and the ideal board state is probably like 3 Pidgeotos, Oranguru, and Mareep, and then
for a moment I misunderstand the ideal bird state. It's like, that's a good pun.
And then probably leave something open, so you always have access to something like Articuno if you might need it. Yeah. And Vincent is just gonna probably watch Sander play and play his deck, and Vincent's turns will be really short. He's just gonna try to think what can he do to prevent Sander from resetting his hand. Actually, a tech that would be really nice to use if he can get there, but I don't think he can, is the Magical Miracle GX attack with the extra effect to shuffle back in all of Sander's energy. But I think already one of his energies hit the discard pile.
Yes, the one water energy hit the discard pile.
And he can't tech switch off the Xerneas, and he only plays 9 fairy energy, so 4 are already gone, so you only ever can get 5 onto one of the Gardevoir Sylveons. So this is not an option anymore for Vincent in this game, I think at least.
Yeah, I also think so.
Yes.
He plays super scoop up though.
Oh yeah, if he scoops up the Xerneas, then he can reattach those energies for sure. That's true. As we see him go for another double custom catcher, disrupting Xander's board state as much as possible, going for the Aurora Horns, and yeah, trying to prevent Xander from setting up as much Pidgeotos as possible.
Of course, and we see the Aurora Horn hitting into the Pidgeotto, and Vincent going down to 3 prices. And 3 prices is about the range where Xander can start establishing the lock.
Yeah. He plays Jesse and James and also one Weezing from Hidden Fates, which reads, if you discard this card from your hand with the effect of Jesse and James, your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand. So if you discard it, your opponent suddenly gets rid of 4 cards. So you can stamp Jesse and James, get rid of the Weezing, suddenly your opponent has a 0-card hand. So yeah, now is the time has come where Xander can try to establish the board position, the lock, and yeah, be fine, and try to lock Vincent out of the game. And Vincent has actually put down 3 Gardevoir Sylveons. I'm not entirely sure if that's like optimal, because Xander plays custom catcher, and like
yes, he does.
If he custom catchers up one of the Gardevoirs without energy, then it can't attack. And he actually hits 1 basic energy off the Mars.
And Vincent
That's
is for
huge.
sure not happy about that.
Yes.
We see recycle energy getting attached to Mareep, which makes a lot of sense.
Yes. We probably see the ability. Yes, Xerneas goes to sleep.
On a fluffy pillow.
It's actually super nice. And yeah, Xander just passes over.
Oh,
and
but the Xerneas wakes up.
That's definitely what you want to see when you're Vincent. But I think Xander is still in an okay position if he's able.
And Vincent not really doing anything here.
Yeah, he's
just going
attacking.
For the KO.
Yeah, he does not need to, right? What else should he do?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I guess he's not afraid of something being gusted up into the active. And
I mean, it probably also makes sense to gather as big of a hand as he can, because that actually forces Xander to play the reset stamp like he's doing now.
Yes, yes.
So we reset stamp for 2.
Double custom catcher and the Articuno in Xander's hand, I think. So we will probably see
either to get serious.
Yeah, either he will get rid of all the energies on the Xerneas, or he will just catcher up the Gardevoir without the energy.
We see Jesse James.
Yes, Chip Isaacs, there we go. And now we're in business.
Now we're talking.
Now the fun part begins for everyone. Xander's just gonna do this every single turn from now on. Control Vincent's top deck with the Chip Isaacs. Get rid of the Kati top deck last turn with the Mars. And yeah. But Xander still has something else to do. He needs to get rid of his own deck, so he actually can guarantee all the cards that he resource manages back in.
When we see the custom catcher to a Gardevoir Sylveon tag team without any energies, and also for sure Vincent without any options to get it out of the active position.
Yes, as we see the 2 Pidgeotos and the Chip Isaacs being resource managed back in. But I wouldn't expect Xander to hit the Chip Isaacs again next turn. He would need a way to shuffle his deck beforehand.
I don't know.
So you play the Elms now, and then you hope to hit the Chip Isaacs off the Airmails, but it's not that likely since he only plays 1 Chip.
He only plays 1 Chip.
Let me double check, but yes.
Only 1 Chip, that's true.
So yeah, he's like, okay, if it's priced, I need to find another way of winning. And Xander, obviously, he can work around that, probably. Yes, we see the Pidgeys being grabbed back, almost as if they were never gone. Getting back from the discard pile immediately into the deck and then into the hand. Yes, the airmail.
Second airmail.
Crushing Hammer is actually really nice.
Third airmail.
O2 energy. And he grabs
like
the recycle.
No, the basic
the
one.
water. Yeah, to give himself the option of Articuno, I guess, yes. And yeah, he did not get the Chip Isaacs off this turn, so if Vincent top decks something right here. But in these green stacks, the best thing he can top deck is the Green's Exploration, right? And that only gets him 2 more cards. And if Sander plays like double Mars or Jesse and James next turn, then we will be back to square one, and Vincent will have 0 card hand and will need to top deck once again. And
that's true, and Sander is in a very good spot.
yes, he certainly knows how to handle those stall decks really well. But you see what the issue is with those stall decks, right? He took 20 minutes just to get into this lock, and he's not 100% safe.
But the funny thing is, Sander actually finished his top 8 game very fast.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know how that happened. Maybe his opponent scooped.
Yeah, probably. If you're up against, if you see all those Pidgeys and you have had a long day and you know your deck can't deal with it, you just go, I take the top 8, stop wasting my time. I just go home and don't want to play this if I know I lose anyway. But yeah.
I guess you can play until your opponent has established the loop.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's a setup deck, and like I said last round, setup decks always have the disadvantage that they need a setup first.
Yes.
So they tend to be they tend to be a little bit more inconsistent.
Oh, double heads on the Crushing Hammer, really nice. And there we just see the scoop.
Here is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's
once the lock is established.
You just
what's supposed to happen?
You just say, yeah, go next. It's fine. Give me another shot. Get rid of the board. It's fine. Try to set up once again, and there was really no point in playing this game for Vincent.
It's called control for a reason.
Yes.
And with this Pidgey deck, it's even better or worse, depending on what side of the table you are. From my viewing perspective, from my perspective as caster, I would actually also say it's a bit worse as usual control decks, because you really have total control of your deck, because you don't shuffle your deck anymore at a certain point. With Airmail, you always know which card you took, which card is at the bottom. With Oranguru, you also place the cards at the bottom, so you at some point know the exact order of cards in your deck.
Just solitaire, right? You just play. You know your opponent can't do anything with the card you give him, and you just play the game, and your opponent just sits there and watches, which feels kind of bad. I remember, like back in the day when we had those Regigiga stall decks that were also made popular by Sander here in Europe. I actually quite enjoyed playing those because you had a lot of decisions to make with your Stevens and your Lusamine. But this control deck is kind of just, okay, once I get the combo, and once my opponent takes a certain number of prize cards, I just throw everything down, lock him out of the game, and then I just do the same thing for like 35 minutes.
Over and over and over.
Yes. So yeah, I guess Vincent, very smartly giving himself the chance to maybe come back due to dead draws happening from Sander's side. But we saw that actually there are 2 custom catchers priced for Sander, which is huge.
Marie.
Yeah, that is huge because Sander, he won't take any prizes. So Sander will not be able to gust for this whole game because he only plays 3 custom catcher.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense in
but
control decks.
But he's playing Gladion?
No, Gladion rotated.
Oh, true. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry.
My bad. Yeah, he has no access to Gus for the whole game. That could make this game a little bit more interesting. But Vincent, again, starting with those Xerneas, you don't really want to see the Xerneas start because
really.
Gardevoir, if you get 1 energy, you can take more energy out of your deck and accelerate it to your bench Pokemon. And Xerneas does not really use those energy really well, and I think you want to play for a Magical Miracle GX because it helps out a lot and in disrupting your opponent's hand. Yeah, I would actually really like Vincent going for like benching the Gardevoir and then going for a super scoop up on the following turns, but does not look like he's benching the Gardevoir Sylveon, so we'll see what he does.
He's playing a Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he got the switch and another Bill?
Another builds? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, Xander starting the Absol, which is really helpful against those. Like, there's a lot of Jirachi decks in the format.
Yeah.
You have Malama, you have Pikoram, you have Reshizard. You even, I heard some Mewtwo decks play Jirachi. Like, some people try it out at some local events in Germany. So, like, you have a lot of decks that utilize Jirachi, and the Absol is really, really helpful against that. As we see, Xander, yes, starting off with the raw Professor Alp's lecture, he will be able to get 3 Pidgeys out of his deck, and if ideally you want to follow that Elms up with another Elms on the next turn, just get 3 Pidgeotos, and then you're basically cruising for the rest of the game. If your opponent...
You're flying.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, for the rest of the game, because you can just go through your deck, and you basically, due to those 3 birds on your bench, you see 6 cards of your deck every turn for free, and then you just pick the 3 cards you like best and put the rest down of your under your deck again. So yeah, we see the 3 Pidgeys come down as expected. Probably not much more he can do on this turn.
Not really. I mean, that it's his first turn. He's not gonna control any attack anyway. He can't evolve anyway, so...
Yeah, he's just passing over probably. Yeah, and certainly, like, he's not attacking, right? But he's certainly, by putting down the Pidgeys, he's also applying pressure to Vincent, because Vincent knows what's gonna happen. He saw it in the last game, so he will try his best to, like, stop that from happening again. But I'm not really sure, like, what else he can do other than try to build for one shot with the Gardevoir, or to build for GX attack with the Gardevoir, or just reset stamp and hope Xander that draws. Like, Xander's deck versus decks that only play things that attack your active, right? You can sack something every turn that is not really important to you till you get the lock going. But Xander's deck struggles a lot against stuff like the Espeon Deoxys that is played in Mewtwo, or like other possibilities of spreading damage counters on your board. Obviously, always I see Xander's actually not playing the Mew from Unbroken Bonds. So
true.
If someone would use any spread attacks against him, I don't know if there are any relevant ones out there, but in this format. But if someone would use spread attacks, his deck would be very, very weak against that. As we see, Xenia's probably just going for the overrun 2020. Talking about spread attacks, right? It's kind of, sort of, pseudo spread attack.
It is, I mean, damage on the bench.
Yeah, putting 2 damage counters on one of these Pidgeys on the bench. Only 2 more overruns, and then the Pidgey will be knocked out, so I guess that's fine. And yeah, there we see, followed up by another Elm. Very beautiful. That's exactly
really
what
beautiful.
you want to see. Yeah,
There's something good in his post box.
Yeah, that's actually true. Yeah, going to be able to pick the cards he wants to, and he's just gonna sit there and watch his Pokemon get knocked out. I think this time Vincent will go for a slower approach, probably, try to spread out damage, and then maybe he can utilize his custom catcher in a way where he would be able to take knockouts on 2 Pidgeys at once, or 2 Pidgeotos at once, using the overrun attack. Maybe he could try to go for this line of play, but yeah, it would be certainly very difficult, since it would take a lot of time and a lot of attacks. But yeah.
Yeah, and we see him using the airmails, digging for, I don't know actually.
Yeah, you in these early turns, you just want to accumulate as much resources as possible in your hand, so you have the options, as much options as you can late game, when your opponent actually gets down low on prizes. But that's the advantage of taking a slower approach. Um, you don't take any prizes. You just take prizes on only the Pidgeotos. Then we see Coach Trainer drawing some more cards. It's probably really good. For him, for Vincent, he wants to have as much option as possible. Yeah, as he actually chooses to not attach any energies, just go for the overrun again. Put this Pidgeotto from 20 damage away from being knocked out. Yeah, and next turn we will see what strategy he will go for. Will he go for will he just knock out the Pidgeotto on the bench, or will he try to spread the damage around and then utilize Custom Catcher to take out two Pidgeottos at once?
We will need to find out.
Really deciding how his strategy is going to pay out this game. As we see, crushing another heads. Xander's just rolling the dice really well on those crushing hammers. That's also something that can happen with Pidgeotto. You just lose if you flip enough tails on crushing hammer.
That's true.
Yeah, that's something from my experience, from my testing. Like, if you flip enough tails, you can just lose the game. If you are not able to get rid of your opponent's energies on board and you can't stop them from attacking. As we see, yeah, he used the air mails, puts down the Ditto Prism Star. Probably the fourth Pidgeotto will come down soon. Yeah, plays the power plant, not really relevant. Oh, we actually see throwback to the old days. A Stevens Resolve playing from Xander, searching his deck for 3 cards. And since he's playing a lot of one-offs, which is not typical for the Pidgeotto decks,
true, yes.
the Stevens actually becomes a really valuable card because it can pick out all of these one-offs.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going for U-turn board, and I wasn't able to pick up the second card. U-turn board, crushing hammer, and a surprise.
Something. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, as we see the reset stamp being used by Vincent, shuffling
we
back.
Will never find out what that second card was.
But it's fine. He will probably get it back eventually. Yeah, as we probably will see another overrun from the Xerneas. And I mean, since Xander has established a board position, he just needs to play to not lose, and then he will be fine. Since Pidgeotto takes a long time to lose a game or to win a game. So yeah, as we actually see, okay, Vincent is going for the KOs, trying to take out the Pidgeottos right on the spot, taking away those airmails. But he's also taking prizes, making Xander's reset stamp stronger and stronger.
Yeah, and Xander doesn't really mind, because he has the Ditto Prism Star. He can get the third Pidgeotto back quite soon, probably. And also, even though the Pidgeotto might get KO'd, he can just get them back into his deck with the Oranguru, so it's tough.
Yeah,
really tough.
Taking one prize does not really do anything for Vincent, as we already mentioned in the last game. So, actually, Xander plays the Sky Pillar as a way of his opponent putting damage counters on his bench. So, if he wants to put that down and force a counter stadium from Vincent, then it could be really good for him. Actually, as the Pidgeotto player, you want your opponent to play more cards. You don't want them to just sit there and draw pass every single turn, because then it takes longer for you to win. If Xander has not established the lock yet, and Vincent is still just drawing and passing, or drawing and attacking, and then that's it. So he's not playing any cards. So there are more cards in his deck that Xander has to get rid of to win the game eventually. So yeah, as we see, finally Tails on the crushing hammers, on the crushing hammer, and there we see,
reset stamp to 5.
Vincent has accumulated a really large hand, so the reset stamp makes sense to take away those options. As we probably will see resource management, by the way, Xander is sorting through his discard pile. will recover some Pokemon, maybe, but yeah, he still has a supporter to play, I think, so we'll see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, the problem with Vincent not really playing a lot of cards is also that he's not playing a lot of energy cards. So he's holding on to them. And Xander cannot really get rid of them.
To see the mouse, what is it gonna hit? Oh my god, he's hitting another fairy energy.
I guess I've jinxed it.
Yeah, probably he should have played one of those energy cards before. Maybe. Then there would have been less in his deck. But also Xander's flipping really well on the Crushing Hammer. So your energies, like that's the thing against Pidgeotto, your energies are never safe. When they're in your hand, they're never safe. When they're in your deck, they're technically safe, but then you don't have access to them as well.
You just won't see them.
But yeah, so wherever they are, they're never safe versus those Pidgeotto decks. As we see the Sky Pillar coming down, stopping those annoying overruns that Vincent is doing currently, and protecting the Pidgeottos on the bench. As we see, a greens from Vincent, searching his deck for 2 trainer cards. I wonder what he's gonna grab. I'm really not sure. What do you want to go for in these kind of situations? Double Custom Catcher makes sense, but since he has searched his deck before, he probably knows that 1 is priced, so he only has access to 1 gusting effect if he does not draw the Custom Catcher off the prize cards. So
yeah, you don't really want to sacrifice the 1 gusting effect if you can't get a KO.
I mean, he can get a no, he can't even. No, he can't even get a KO. I was just like, okay, he can gust something out. Pidgeottos only have 60 HP, but he can't even do 60 damage right here. So
looks like he's going for Energy Spinner and making the Energy Spinner an energy.
Yes, and we'll probably see another overrun because he also grabbed the power plant, the counter stadium as well. But yeah, it does not really do anything. Like 20 damage, I mean, I guess it's fine.
Oh, we see a power plant being played.
Yes.
So at least he also deals 20 spread damage to a benched Pokemon.
Yeah, there we see 20 damage coming down on the Absol. But yeah, Xander is just chilling. He's probably gonna play the Crushing Hammer as well. Try to get rid of the energies.
Ooh,
we see another Tails. But it's still fine. I mean, you still have the Articuno as like a fail-safe. If a lot of your hammers actually are Tails, and your opponent only builds up 1 threat on his board, you always can go for the Articuno and just cold crush GX to get rid of all of the energies on the active Pokemon, on both active Pokemon. But you don't mind. You can recover the energy anyway.
Yeah.
As we see the Elms and then
and
the
there's
Pidgeotto
the third
come down.
Pidgeotto and probably another Pidgey. Not quite yet. Better checking the mail first.
Yes. And he's putting the Mars back on the deck, getting the U-turn board, which is fine, right? If you have the U-turn board already, then it always will come back to your hand, even if the Pokemon that it is attached to gets knocked out. So you want these cards that recover themselves. You want them pretty early, so you can make use of their recover ability throughout the whole game.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense. And we see Xander now debating, and he has decided to bench the Pidgey. He's eyeing up another recycle energy. Could potentially attach it to Oranguru, so he would be able to attack with Profound Knowledge.
Which
next
is also
turn. That's actually a 3-hit KO in the Xerneas, and it would force Vincent to bench something else.
Yeah, you force your opponent to play cards. So yeah, I think it's really smart to put those energy on there, because if the Oranguru gets KO'd, fine, you get the recycle energies back anyway. As we see, 2 Crushing Hammer being recycled. Yeah, I think Xander is not really playing towards like locking Vincent out of the board, out of the game by disrupting his hand, but rather than disrupting the weak board state that Vincent has decided to go with.
Yeah, because now he forces Vincent to either attach an energy or bench something else.
Yeah, you force your opponent to play cards. That's actually really smart. A lot of players only go for, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna pull out off the combo eventually. But Xander makes this deck look like it has so much options and
It
so
would
many win
actually be
conditions.
interactive.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
You
and he's
definitely
going for
can see that he is a premier stall player. Like that he knows the ins and outs of those decks.
He definitely is.
And always when you go to Netherlands, when you go to the Cups, you pair it against Xander, you know what's coming. You can mentally prepare yourself. As we see, 4 Pidgeotos on board, full airmail train. He will be able to see so many cards every single turn and just pick whatever he wants. And this is so strong, right? Once you establish that, as we see, yeah, now he has so much options in his hand.
I mean, he draws 4 extra cards every turn.
Yes, and like the acrobikes don't even matter that much if they hit 2 important cards because you recover them with resource management. And if they hit like an Elms in this state of the game, you are like, okay, really nice. I can get rid of the Elms. If my opponent wants to reset stamp me, I have 1 less dead card in my deck. Playing cards that actually have discard synergy in those Pidgeotto decks.
Ooh, another Tails.
Another Tails.
He has a
Crushing
second
Hammer.
one. This one should really be heads again.
I mean, he flipped 3 Tails in a row.
Ooh!
4 Tails in a
4
row.
Tails in a row, that's pretty unfortunate.
His flipping luck is really turning around right now.
Yeah.
But it's still fine. I mean, he has time, right?
That's true. But those 2 Tails actually mean that he now needs to attack with resource management and get the resources back.
Yes, that's true.
And can't attack. Well, it would confuse the Xerneas. So there would still be the slight chance of Vincent not being able to attack. But yeah, he goes for the safe play, uses
just
resource management.
Get the cards back in. You have another turn and a turn after. So you can just chill there. You know, Vincent, yeah, he has the double custom catcher, but he does not really have anything like a lot of stuff that he can do. Like he can KO another Pidgey, but he's actually gonna pull up the Pidgey and do 2020. So if Xander's able to just retreat the Pidgeotto, then it will be like Vincent wasted both of his custom catcher, which feels really really bad. Yeah, you want to use those custom catcher to KO those Pidgeys, not like to just bring it up and put your opponent in a position where he can just retreat with an energy attachment. So yeah, that feels also subpar. As we see Palpate from Xander. Now we see what he does. He actually has a combo in hand where he can put down Vincent to a 0 card hand this turn, because he has the reset stamp. Vincent is at 4 prizes, and he also has Jesse and James plus Wheezing. So yeah, he can put down Xander can put down Vincent to a 0 card hand and start establishing the lock if he gets a chip Ice X. I'm not sure if he actually has it in his deck or if it was discarded of an Acrobat.
He discarded it with an Acrobat just last turn.
Yes, last turn was discarded, but still, then Vincent would need to rely on the top deck. So yeah, we see exactly that. The reset stamp coming down into Jesse and James plus Wheezing. You already see Xander eyeing up those cards. As we actually, we see the Lieutenant Surge being shuffled on top of the hand. So Xander even can play another supporter after the Jesse and James, but we'll see what he does. Maybe he'll just be fine playing the one supporter this turn, setting Vincent down to a 0 card hand, and then no, we see the Lieutenant Surge being played first, then a Jesse and James coming down. Yeah, and then the Wheezing. The extra effect of the Wheezing will make it so Vincent has to discard his whole hand. And there's the Mars as well. Drawing another extra 2 cards. Into the Crushing Hammer, really nice. Yeah, and then the Counter Stadium. So Overrun won't deal any damage to the bench. And he can just attach, retreat, and resource management, or he can use the GX attack Stadi Kuno, actually.
Speaking of the devil, here it comes. GX attack. All energy's gone, and I feel like the lock is established.
Nice,
Ooh.
there's a Pokegear. If Vincent can hit this, then he may be able to draw out of it, but no, he whiffs the Pokegear. I mean, there has been a lot of greens have been played already, so the odds of hitting that Pokegear were not really that high. And yeah, Vincent is just forced to pass because he has 0 cards in hand and he can't do anything. As we will see, Sander just going for those airmails again, picking the combo piece he needs. There's the Chip Ice Axe, really nice. He will be able to control Vincent's top deck from now on. And his deck is so thin that he can basically guarantee those item cards every single turn now. And yeah, that's actually a really tough decision since he hit 2 energy and a coach trainer. But yeah, he puts the energy on top. He knows that he has a lot of crushing hammers and Vincent won't be able to do 20 damage to his bench. So yeah. Actually, I think you even want Vincent to draw into those fairy energy so you can get rid of them as soon as possible and then start attacking to finish the game. If you're in Xander's position. As we see, resource management coming down, shuffling back in, the Chip Ice Axe, the Palpad, and the Crushing Hammer for the next turn. Yeah, and Xander will be able to just stream those cards every single turn. As we see, Vincent doing 20 to the Oranguru, but Xander doesn't care.
He really doesn't.
As we see
first airmails. Airmail. Oh, actually revealing the Elm, but
whatever.
Ooh.
As we see, yeah, Vincent knows that there's no point in playing out this game anymore. And yes, we see Xander picking up the W in this one.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, he played it really well. I mean, Gardevoir Sylveon does not really have a lot of options.
That's true.
You maybe can get lucky off Reset Stamp or play towards Magical Miracle, as we said, but Vincent decided to not go that route, to not go for that line of play. So yeah, Xander really pulling off the well-executed game plan, not making any mistakes.
Definitely.
And yeah, just really solid.
Overall, you just have to say that it's a variant for a favorite matchup for Gardevoir. Its general game plan just doesn't work out against the Pidgey control deck. It's a bad matchup. Most people just take as it is, accept the hard loss against it, and that's unfortunately what we just saw. But I still always find it interesting to look at those Pidgey decks.
Feature those niche decks on stream sometimes. Give them some time in the spotlight that they probably well deserve. Because people tend to be like, okay, I just take the auto loss to Pidgey, it's fine. And people like Xander, who are able to execute those decks on such high levels, just capitalize off that. And Xander has achieved such great placements in the last season, and is continuing this in this season.
And it's also so nice to actually see him make the step forward and actually get a high finish, because he's always playing in the top 2 in day 2, and we've also seen him make a fair amount of top 8s.
Yes.
But I think this might be his first regional finals.
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure.
I'm pretty sure. I think he lost versus Alessandro Cremascoli in Bristol in the top 4.
That could be.
And then in the Bolzano special event also he did not make it to the finals. So yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure.
You know what? I think Xander knows. And that's why we should probably get him for an interview, so we can ask him this and many other questions. So don't go anywhere. We will grab Xander real quick.
Yes.
No way.
Hello and welcome back. I'm here with the winner of our last game, Xander. Xander, winning top 4. How do you feel?
A little bit exhausted, but still great.
I can understand. I mean, you've been playing Pidgey Control for 2 days now.
Yes, and I also played it like in all the cups leading up to this. So I've been playing this deck so much, it's like...
Yeah, the last time I've interviewed a Pidgey Control player, it was Fabienne in Sheffield, and I've asked him, why are you doing this to yourself?
I guess I'm kind of used to it, right? I've been playing these kind of decks for like 2 years, so it's like by now I kind of know the drill. I know what it's like to like play every round two times.
I see. So going into finals, you will actually face the Tord Radcliffe.
Lord
Tord, yes. Have you played Tord before?
Yeah, I played him in this tournament.
Oh wow, really?
And I've played him a few times before that as well.
So
and our matches are always kind of interesting.
Interesting.
Because, like I think back in Sheffield, I won. In Leipzig, like a while ago, I won against him with Wobbuffet break. And like since then, he's like very adamant in not losing to like the control decks. So we also played in Harrogate, and he played Granbull with an Oranguru in it.
Oh yes,
just to beat me, and then we played and we died anyway because I played Lugia. So I played Lugia GX. So he was like, oh wait, I can't take prizes because you'll just lost purge me. So we just died that game. But yeah, I mean, and now he also has like a pretty good deck against me. But I think actually the matchup is kind of close. So.
Yeah.
And I also think it's like the most fun matchup with Pidgeotto to play against Mewtwo, because it's just like Mewtwo has a lot of stuff that's good against Pidgeotto, but Pidgeotto also has a lot of stuff that's really good against Mewtwo. So you have like a lot of strengths and weaknesses against each other.
Yeah.
It's not like this top 4 matchup where it's just like, well, his deck really doesn't function against mine.
Yeah, that was a very bad matchup for your opponent.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like his deck, like he not only does he not play like few energies, but also like he's more meant to be a bit more like anti-meta, more reactive himself. So it's just a complete misfit matchup for him. Like what his game plan doesn't work well against mine at all.
Yeah. So your next match will be Tord. The matchup is pretty close. I'm very happy I'm not going to be casting it, because it sounds like a matchup where you get a big headache because lots of things are going on.
But I think it's the most fun matchup with Pidgeotto, because like the game can go in so many ways. He has like, it's like all like I have like my lock is still really strong against him, but he has like this great finisher with Espion Deoxys. I have Girafarig, I have power plants to shut it down. And
it sounds more like a match of chess and not of Pokemon, because so many things can go back and forth.
Yeah.
But speaking of your accomplishments, we were actually wondering, is this so far your best finish at a regional?
At a regional, yeah, it is.
Oh.
This is actually my 6th day 2 at a regional in a row. But
in a row?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Last season I top 4'd all, and this season I day 2'd all regionals, all 4, and
not
now
bad.
the first 2. So now it's just but this is my first finals.
So I would say congratulations on the finals already, and I hope we can find out if you might even manage to top that soon. So I would say we'll give you a short break before the finals, and we will be back shortly with the finals. Sander versus Tord starting soon.